Hello there, how's it going? So in this video I'm gonna walk you through how I basically upsold a client that had more problems that we actually thought, and basically became in pretty much restructured his whole business, made him able to actually scale, got him 13 appointments in the first week of actually doing the actual appointment setting stuff. And this is how we use content, and this is how we're gonna go over how this client has been able to go from having inconsistent revenue months to the point that like it was going up and down, like we're not really consistent, didn't really have an outbound machine, or like not even an outbound, like inbound machine, in fact, to the point that we came in and we pretty much restructured everything. So if you're like any sort of coach, or like you have a service and like the stuff you have to be doing on a daily basis, but like you're just not super consistent at it, or like you're just having roadblocks and you're hitting stuff every single time you try to do something consistently, this video might be pretty much what you need essentially. And here's some proof that we actually did upsold. Is it upselled or upsold? I think it's upsold, but like here's some proof that we actually did upsell him. So like I created this plan for him. Let me know what your thoughts. Crazy powerful, huge impact on reviewing my constraints. Solid man on my board, send me the invoice, and then sent him the details. And obviously you have to pay more to get this because there's a lot of work, and I'm gonna explain to you why it was and exactly what we did on a specific basis. But if you don't know me, my name is Mahiz. I run this audience monetization agency called Webful, and we help coaches, consultants basically sign more deals. If you want to read through exactly how we do this, I have a group where I basically go over it, and I have a document that you can grab under this video that pretty much goes over the exact same thing, and it's it's free. You can just scrub through it. It's amazing. So it gives you lots of value and teaches you how to scale to like 30K a month. So go do that. Just like what this client is at as well too. That's literally where his revenue is at. So yeah, basically after we build out all the assets that we have to build out, is outreach, not really like outreach, more of like in reach, because it was like a lot of inbound stuff. Started around the 25th ish, and we booked in 13 appointments so far. And this was with context of he was on holiday when this happened, so there was no new content coming out, there was no new assets, or everything was built before he went on holiday. So this was all built out based off like a period of him not even being active. So this was like the worst, like the hardest extreme case scenario, and we were still able to get him results. So here's exactly what we did and pretty much how we did it, and you can literally replicate this exact process because I have screenshots of the exact like flows and everything that they did essentially. So the first thing we do is we pretty much figure out what your constraints actually are. So what's stopping you from actually scaling in the first place? So with him, it was a very interesting case where he wasn't really having a conversation taking place. Like he will go from like booking 40 appointments in a month, and then he'll have months where he was really heavy on marketing, but then he'll have months where he's like really heavy in service delivery. So it wasn't really that consistent. So at the time, he only had like 2-3 calls coming in, like just like organically from people just finding the link somehow, like not from him actually doing some stuff. And then they mainly came from Facebook. Shopper was 75%. We had to improve that. There was low qualification rate, so it was getting a lot of people that weren't even qualified in the first place, which is not great. Closing rate was all right. Still have to probably increase that. No selling team in place, and he's not even spending a lot of time into marketing. So basically what we did is that we basically got him someone, and we had a comment into this of like, hey, this is exactly what we're going to build out based off your constraints. So for example, with this, we identified not only does he have like a conversation problem, he also has a qualification problem as well too. So we have two things that we can fix, and the ways that we fix those things is by implementing, let's say for example, if qualification rate is low, how can we implement a sales process? How can we have a process before the actual call, so people can go through a system that will basically make them qualified, so by the time they hop on a call, they know exactly what they're trying to buy essentially. So those are those little things, and then obviously increasing the actual like book calls, those stuff like that is basically what we implement in a sense that will get people results. So we have that, and then we also have sales constraints. Okay, cool. How many calls are you booking? Closing rate. One call closes. What's the objection you can get the most? How long are leads kept in your pipeline? This was pretty bad because we had to keep the leads longer, so we increased the leads pipeline from like pipeline is just kind of like how long they're in your system, in a sense, like how long do you keep following up after your call if they didn't close. 30 days is not enough. You want to at least have people in your pipeline for as long as you possibly can, and so that you can buy, they can come through the buying window. And common objection usually get pricing, so we fixed that as well too. And then service delivery constraints as well too, because you don't just want to look at one different angle, you want to look at the whole business pretty much. Because like you're coming in, if you're you're helping them with like growth, you're coming in and you're pretty much like overhauling everything. So we looked at even service delivery, so like how many services do you offer, like what's the price point, like obviously I can't show that, that's why that's blurred, because it's sensitive information over there. So basically we're like, okay, cool, let's have systems where we can increase the LTV. Let's have systems where we can only get the people who get the best results. Let's be more vocal about the results that we're getting, all that types of stuff. So all of this stuff combined pretty much gave us the roadmap that we needed to do in order to basically get him to where we wanted to be. Because if we didn't do this, we wouldn't have known where to start, and then we probably would have started doing things that we didn't even have to do in the first place. Like for example, if I didn't like have this conversation, I wouldn't have had to build out all of these. Let's say for example, if he already had a good team on Facebook, I wouldn't have to build a whole Facebook funnel from scratch, because he already has something like that. So doing these things is what basically allows us to identify constraints. And if you're wondering how you can identify your constraints, I'm gonna leave the link to this document. Like it's completely free, by the way, like you don't even have to opt into it. Underneath this video, you can literally just use it to figure out what your constraints are in your business, and just like use common sense to have everything in front of you and be like, oh, because this is low, then obviously this stuff is not that great. So literally you can get that for free, like it's underneath this video, so grab that. And then after that, we basically roadmapped it. So from there we're like, okay, cool, week one we're gonna obviously I made this look a lot nicer. Week one, we're gonna get someone that's very qualified to handle all the conversations, make sure they hit the KPIs, start remarketing, integrate the outbound inbound team, whatever, and then obviously do all the system stuff. So that was basically what we did. And then that's the first part. So that's just figuring out what we're even going to do in the first place. And then the next part is obviously actually getting the results in the first place. So obviously we roadmap pretty much everything. So our roadmaps kind of look like this, when it's like we're like, okay, cool, this is exactly what we need to do. And there's a lot of stuff that we have to do actually to actually make everything great. But that's just an example. And to actually get the results, what we did is we came in and we helped them place someone that would basically manage the conversations for them. And 3 to 4 times every single week, I would personally hop on a strategy session, let her share her screen, and we'll basically look at pretty much every single conversation that she's having and try to get them to convert into meetings with my live feedback. Like I'm literally there watching her like book the appointments on a day-to-day basis. This is what most people don't do. They get people to do the hard stuff that they don't want to do, and because they don't want to do it, they just offload them and they just expect them to figure stuff out. They're like, hey, here's the stuff, here's the training, here's the SOPs that I got from my course, go do your thing. And then they realize that they're not going to book any appointments, and they're like, oh shit, like why aren't you booking appointments and stuff? No shit, you're not helping me. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So I was personally able to do this because I knew that if I gave that to just my client himself, it's just going to be a lot of headache for him to do it. And why is he paying me if he doesn't want to deal with that pain? So we basically came in, pretty much restructured everything. So share the screen. I realized there was a lot of difficulty from getting people that were actually interested into actually booking a course. So he was creating a lot of content, he was getting a lot of people to engage with it, but no one was booking courses. Like it was so difficult to get people to actually approach to those courses. So we created this custom approach using this conversation flow, and it basically worked wonders in a sense. And this is an exact conversation from someone that didn't even book a call as well too. So did book a call as well. And basically this is how it came. It was like, hey, I'm a sales wizard. Obviously like you're a sales wizard, why? So I just asked them like an opening question, because this was someone that was what is it called? This was technically outbound, but like they added him as a friend, so like he was able to reach out to this person. So then it was just irrelevant, like what is it called? Compliment. And then we basically go direct a little bit. So curious, do the people you work out reach out to you, or do you reach out to them? Doing the outreach myself. And then how's that been working for you? Have you been able to get people consistently interested in what you do? Always being direct with the message. I've had a business coach help me implement with this process. Most people will pretty much give up here, but she didn't give up, and she was basically asking the same question again, like have people been reaching out to you or not so much, essentially. So like then, and And then she was basically like, oh, not so much from the content, it's just to, you know, build credibility and authority. This isn't probably the best way to do it, but like this was a decent way. I wasn't really watching her when she did this. And then she basically comes into the part where she gives a little bit of value and tries to create a little bit of curiosity, and then basically tells her that like, hey, I can send you over. And then he was like, sure, I'd love to take a look at it. All right, could I just have 30 minutes of your time to walk you through? I think you'll find it very valuable. She but we'll be able to hop on a call until next week, and then she just drops the calendar, and then, you know, he books essentially. So the main way that we do it is obviously the first, we like to have the 3 steps where it's qualify, educate and give value, and then segue. So we like to have those things where it's like qualify, you want to figure out if they actually have the problem that you can solve, then educate them on the problem and how you can solve it. And then third part is you want to segue. Segue is basically just like transitioning it from the education part to basically helping them book a call. I've literally created a whole trainer around this whole thing. Like sellers get it, that people that I train to become sellers. If you want to learn more about that, it's going to be in the links in the description as well too. But this is basically the whole framework around it, and it gets people to book calls. And because it's just so simple, you don't have to go through tons of questions, you just have a few that you ask, and then from there you can gauge if someone's interested and they can actually book calls. And the conversation and all this process is not going to save you alone, but the peace of mind and knowing that there's someone that's basically going to help you consistently booking appointments on a consistent basis, even when you're traveling. Because he was literally traveling, like I just said before, from this whole maze, and he literally just came back. It was like excited to grind back as hard as before, follow up with triage calls, do all this stuff, blah blah blah. And she was like, must be nice. So if you want someone to literally just come in and pretty much overhaul your whole marketing so that you can actually just focus on the whole service that you're offering yourself, then the first link below is what you're looking for. That's going to lead you to a page where you can even literally watch more about our service and how it actually works. And if you want to learn more about it, and if you want to ask me specific questions, you can just follow me on Instagram. Literally just DM me there. Like, my links are going to be there as well too. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, I really put a lot of time into this, and I'm hoping it can actually help you get better results. So yeah, go do that. Peace out.